We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
That Tucker Carlson interview with GOP vice presidential pick JD Vance dating back to 2021 has now come back to bite JD Vance right in the ass. Because that kind of messaging doesn't really play so well when you're trying to attract independent voters at a time when not Joe Biden, but Kamala Harris is the Democratic nominee to basically run against Donald Trump in the general election. Now, after that video resurfaced, and again, it dates back to July of 2021, a bunch of articles were written about it. Obviously, a lot of women were unhappy about him referring to childless women as, miserable cat ladies. Harris, by the way, became a stepmother to 2 teenagers when she married entertainment lawyer Douglas Emhoff in 2014. And the attacks against Pete Buttigieg, pretty gross as well. He announced that he and his husband adopted infant twins in September of 2021. So a few months after JD Vance made those statements. And by the way, Buttigieg weighed in on that interview just last night while speaking on CNN. So let's take a look at that.
The really sad thing is he said that after Chasten and I had been through a fairly heartbreaking setback in our adoption journey. He couldn't have known that, but maybe that's why you shouldn't be talking about other people's children. And it's not about his kids or my kids or the vice president's family. It's about your family, people's families whose well-being will depend on whether we go into a future led by somebody like Kamala Harris, or do you want your children to grow up in a country defined by a return to the chaos and recrimination and cruelty that was the hallmark of the Trump era?
So I like what Buttigieg had to say there because he's touching on something that is, in my opinion, a big problem with the GOP's messaging as it pertains to some of the culture war issues and the side that they like to take on those culture war issues. They like to simplify incredibly nuanced and complicated matters. So when JD Vance makes that statement about women who don't have children, he doesn't understand that he's actually insulting various groups of people. His assumption is that, oh, well, couples who don't have kids or women who don't have kids, they're childless by choice, right? They're selfish, they've decided against it, they're miserable women. He's obviously tapping into a ridiculous stereotype, but you also have to consider the fact that there are plenty of women out there who want to have families. They haven't found the right partner for them yet. They want to ensure that they have a dependable partner to have children with. There are women who desperately want to conceive but cannot conceive for whatever reason. And by the way, you have Republicans now attacking in vitro fertilization to make it more likely for women who are having difficulty conceiving to be able to have children. There are also women out there who are step parents, right? And that kind of messaging doesn't really appeal to those women as well.
These comments that JD Vance has made about childless cat ladies have really come back to bite him, as Ana Kasparian said there. Media figures and just regular people are coming out of the woodwork to denounce what JD Vance has said about this. It would seem not very wise for JD Vance to offend people who don't have children because 1 in 6 adults do not have children in the United States. And these are people who vote. And both sides, whether it's the Trump campaign or the Harris campaign, they're going after independent voters. And there would be a lot of people in that age group who do not have children, either by choice or because they can't. Like Ana Kasparian said, what about all the people that will be voting in this election who are trying to have children or are planning to have children, but just do not have children yet? Maybe they're waiting for the right partner. So not very wise by JD Vance, but it's not just Ana Kasparian who weighed in on this. We also have some quotes from Whoopi Goldberg on The View.
Sir, wow. There are people who have chosen not to have children for whatever reason. There are people who want to have children who cannot. How dare you? You never had a baby. Your wife had a baby. But you never had a baby, so you know nothing about this. And how dare you? And women, you heard how he thinks of you.
Yeah.
This is not good for you, JD.
So Whoopi Goldberg sums up what a lot of people are saying there. The internet has really erupted with people coming out against JD Vance on this. And right now, with the early polling after Donald Trump chose him, JD Vance is polling right now at -6 favorability, which they're saying is the worst favorability for a vice presidential candidate in 40 years. So you have to wonder, there's a lot of talk that Donald Trump is second guessing his choice of JD Vance. It wasn't just Whoopi Goldberg who weighed in on this. We have another clip where Emma Vigeland of the Majority Report dug up even worse comments that JD Vance made in the past about not just what he calls childless cat ladies.
A front organization.
Right. So this is just was giving a speech 2 years ago, and he has this policy idea for families. Let's hear him out.
Democrats are talking about giving the vote to 16-year-olds, but let's do this instead.
No, they're not.
Let's give votes to all children in this country, but let's give control over those votes to the parents of those children. When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality. If you don't have as much of an investment in the future of this country, maybe you shouldn't get nearly the same voice. Now, people will say, and I'm sure the Atlantic and the Washington Post and all the usual suspects will criticize me about this in the coming days. Well, doesn't this mean that non-parents don't have as much of a voice as parents? Doesn't this mean that parents get a bigger say in how our democracy functions? Yes, absolutely.
So JD Vance can't make it much more clear than that. He thinks that if a person does not have children, they shouldn't have the same voice as somebody who has children. That goes against everything that America is supposed to stand for. America is one person, one vote. So what a lot of people have brought up, the question they're throwing out there to JD Vance is, are we going to go back to Civil War days? It wouldn't be based on race, but if you don't have children, then you're 3/5 of a vote, 3/5 of a person. I mean, this is just insanity, and this is really going to hurt Donald Trump, I think. JD Vance may have been a really bad pick.
So he picked a charisma suck, and also a guy who, as this gets more mainstreamed, I think it's going to be really off-putting for their core constituency that they need to win over of suburban female voters. JD Vance has made just like a bunch of weird comments about women, about families. Some are getting unearthed. We played for you him telling Tucker Carlson in 2021 or 2022 that we couldn't turn over our country to liberals like Kamala Harris, who were, quote, childless cat ladies. That prompted Jennifer Aniston, of all people, to speak out this morning.
Oh, damn.
They're getting, yeah.
I thought this was funny. I've never known Jennifer Aniston to comment about anything politically before.
Yeah, the liberal celebrities being on
They're
board.
activating celebrities we didn't even know got involved in politics.
Yeah, this is super Obama 08 in that way. And
David Arquette's going to come through.
So really, media everywhere, whether it's mainstream media like The View or it's these YouTube shows like The Young Turks with Ana Kasparian or The Majority Report with Emma Vigeland and Sam Cedar, are really coming down hard on this. But I want to leave you with one last clip. And this is a comedian on TikTok. And whether you like JD Vance or you don't like JD Vance, this is pretty funny. Now, he's referencing here, JD Vance made an appearance and he was talking about Mountain Dew. So I'm going to play the clip of that first and then play this comedian.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys. But
Now, first of all, I don't know what JD Vance is talking about here with Mountain Dew. I've never heard anybody refer to drinking Mountain Dew as racist. As far as I know, people of all walks of life all around the country drink Mountain Dew. But JD Vance is really giving Jeb Bush please clap vibes here.
Hey, you guys ever go to the store and buy eggs? This guy knows what I'm talking about. You ever put too much spaghetti on your fork? I saw a guy wearing a hat the other day. I was like, here we go. You ever notice the weather and you're like, uh-oh, not this again. We're just having fun tonight, guys. It's just all observations. Just a little observational comedy for you. Hey, what if women couldn't vote?
So that's some guy, Mark, on Twitter. This guy's really great. He does a lot of other stuff beyond just impressions. I think it sums up pretty well the essence of JD Vance. This guy seems to have negative charisma, and it's showing in the polls. But that's a bit of what Ana Kasparian had to say about this outrage that some people are feeling over JD Vance, over his comments about women, people without children. We heard from Emma Vigeland too there. So what do you think? And a little bit from Whoopi Goldberg. But what do you think? Is this much ado about nothing with JD Vance? Will this hurt Trump in the election? Will we see more and more of this stuff from, surfacing from JD Vance, things that he said in the past? I'm sure Kamala Harris's campaign is going to try to do that. Is he a charisma suck, as Emma Vigeland and Ana Kasparian and some of these others are saying? Or do you think that what JD Vance said is great? Let me know in the comments. Give me a like and subscribe. This helps me to grow the channel if you like content like this. I'll see you in the next video.